title of the speech is Asian American Studies and the UCSD Academic Senate. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. Asian American Studies and the UCSD Academic Senate. Welcome, Jim Lin. Asian American Studies is the study of Asians living in the U.S. Its history, the contributions we made, all those things, our immigration patterns. Mayron, Carol, Eileen, you're all Asians like me living in the U.S. I had this vision back in 1986 that I could institutionalize a program in Asian American Studies at the University of California, San Diego. And so I would teach the very first course in that would be very popular. I would have huge numbers of people, 400 students signed a petition asking the administrations to institutionalize a minor in Asian American Studies. 30 faculty signed a petition. Furthermore, Willie Brown, the Speaker of the House, wrote a letter. Yuri Wada, the head of the UC Board of Regents, wrote a letter supporting the creation of a minor in Asian American Studies. I would go on to get approval through the Academic Senate for a minor in Asian American Studies. Most of you are probably unfamiliar with what institutionalizing something at a university is. And so I want to explain a little bit about that. And really, the Academic Senate is the governing board, which consists of all the faculty at UCSD. And within that board, there's the Committee on Educational Policy, which consists of 9 faculty who approve or disapprove of a minor or the creation of a department. So I had to somehow get on this committee, it's the second gauntlet beyond teaching the course, and get the approval of 9 faculty to create this minor. A minor is kind of a menu of courses of which 6 courses are taken by the student. They qualify for the minor. It appears on their diploma. Much more sophisticated than that is a department. That department has a major, and that major consists of maybe 20, 23 courses that a student takes to qualify for that major. There's a profound difference between a department and a minor. The profound difference is that the faculty involved with the major are housed in a self-autonomous department, and that department has the power to hire other faculty. I was just trying to get a minor. So I sat on the Committee on Educational Policy and tried to submit my proposal for a minor. But then I realized it couldn't get on the agenda because the chair of the committee was controlling the agenda. And so the following year, I became the chair of the Committee on Educational Policy. And the very first thing I moved toward was my proposal for the minor in Asian American Studies. The 9 faculty were all over the university. You had a historian, you had a literature prof, you had an anthropologist, you had a physicist, biologist, chemist, theater and dance. They had never heard of Asian American Studies. So the meeting lasted for 3 hours. We discussed it. We went back and forth. And most of the people were in favor of it, except for the anthropology professor. The anthropology professor said, Asian American Studies, that's such a new field. It's only 20 years old. What's to say that it will disappear? I don't think it has the academic credibility of other fields. And so we argued back and forth, and then finally it boiled down to, let's do a literature search. Let's ask the library to look at all the publications in the field of Asian American Studies, and from that, we'll get to see how credible this field is. I thought this was the end. All the efforts I'd put into this were for naught. But I went to the library, asked the central librarian to do this literature search. And a month later, I came back to the library. There was a computer printout. I don't know if you remember, but computer printouts were green and white lined paper with holes on the sides for the teletype machine to print out. I had a 1.5 foot thick computer printout that I brought back to the committee. The committee looked at it for about a half hour, and most of us didn't know anything about what this was, but the anthropology professor looked at it and said, this is really interesting. There are all kinds of publications in Asian American studies from top universities, and there are a lot of young scholars who do this. Actually, when I compare this with the Department of Anthropology, the depth and sophistication of the research is comparable to the anthropology department. I can't remember anything else after that. I was just like, whoa, I made it, Yeah. Unanimous approval for the minor was created. Then after that, I was surprised because I didn't realize, I was so self-conscious about the minor that I didn't realize the Chicano faculty and the African-American faculty were watching all this happen. And they had gotten into trouble. They had suggested candidates in Chicano studies, African-American studies, that were rejected by departments. They realized that now the minor was approved, we could then try to create a department of ethnic studies. And so within 2 years after that, they asked for academic senate approval of a department. It was passed, and now we have Yena Spiritu was the first hire in Asian American studies who produces PhDs that teach Asian American studies all around the country. The African American studies, part of ethnic studies, created a PhD in African American studies that is a MacArthur Genius Fellow. Thank you.